No matter how nuclear war begins, it ends in 72 minutes and 5 billion people would be dead.
Do you think there will be a nuclear war?
So I've interviewed former secretaries of defense, the former nuclear sub-commander, the Secret Service, and what I learned was, oh my God.
Annie Jacobson, investigative researcher and writer who specializes in uncovering the world's biggest secrets.
We are one misunderstanding away from nuclear apocalypse. And yet you have presidents threatening nuclear war. In fact, the President of the United States doesn't need to ask anyone to launch a nuclear missile.
It makes me realize how important the decision to pick our leaders is.
Nothing could be more important.
Could you play out a scenario where nuclear war broke out?
Yes, and I can describe in painstaking, horrific detail precisely what happens. But after nuclear war, the survivors would be forced to live underground and envy the dead.
Annie, is there anyone you interviewed that brought you to tears?
Yes, I met a woman who was a survivor of the Nagasaki bomb. And I haven't written about this yet. But someone I interviewed and someone that meant a lot to me wired that nuclear weapon that was dropped on Nagasaki.
Can you speak about the impact that it had on both those individuals?
And it's horrifying.
Wow.
Ooh, wow.
I know, right?
Gosh.
Ladies and
crazy.
gentlemen, it is crazy, right? But welcome back to the Breakaway News Show. I'm your host, David. Alongside me, I always have my co-host, Fabian and Kevin. And tonight, we have such a packed show for you guys. Iran's president is dead alongside more high senior top officials there. We have to investigate what the hell is going on with that. And then we have finally a crime inside the Trump trial. And no, it's not Trump himself. It's the key witness. So we have all the developing news stories for you and just a little bit with that. And Australia quietly passes digital ID laws. What is that? How impactful is that on people's life there? And what does that mean for the rest of the world? Of course, you can get all of that great stuff here tonight. Make sure that you start by smashing that like button, almost break your screen by how much you're going to smash it. And then while you do that, go ahead and share this, subscribe, do whatever. Of course, you can always find us on Breakaway USA, just in case you drop us anywhere. We're always on Rumble, Twitter. Those are your safe spaces. Fellas, are y'all ready to have a great show tonight?
Man, it was a wild weekend, a lot of news, and we are going to get into it and talk about it.
Absolutely. Ready when you guys are.
Well, let's start with the first story right away, and that is Iran's president is dead alongside foreign minister and other senior top officials within Iran's government system. So the headline is from Fox News is that Iran's controversial president Ibrahim Raisi, foreign minister Hussein, and other officials were confirmed dead on Monday after their helicopter crashed. The death of Raisi, nicknamed the Butcher of Tehran, so we're going to have to talk about that as well, for his oversight of mass executions of political prisoners in 1988, forced Iran's supreme leader Khamenei to install an interim leadership for Iran's executive. And of course, we have to put this in. An Israeli official denied to Reuters the country had any involvement in a deadly crash because, of course, what's happening in the Middle East, they're right away pointing the finger at Israel. But fellas, this is groundbreaking. We have this from Fox News. Why don't we play this real quickly so we can see what Fox News has to say about this?
CIA Station Chief Dan Hoffman. So, Dan, for all the talk of all the technology in Iran that they beat their chest on, it took them this long to locate the helicopter?
Yeah, I mean, first, just the fact that the helicopter went down. And then secondly, you're absolutely right, locating it reportedly with the assistance of Turkey.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that does reflect a bit of challenge that Iran has had with their military. And, I think you all have made some really important points this morning about how, I think we're going to see the continuation of the general contours of Iranian foreign policy, meaning domestic repression, carrying on support to Hamas and their so-called axis of resistance against Israel and the United States, and then fortifying their relationship, their alliance with this new axis of tyranny, Russia, China, and North Korea.
So, Russia,
Wow.
quickly,
All right,
if you
can
want
we
to know
pause
about the
that for a
relations with
second?
Iran, they sent
So, fellas, I just want to ask you guys, what do you think about the story overall? What are the implications for the region, the West in general? What is happening there?
Thank you, Kev.
Man, I got to be honest. When it comes, I heard a little bit about the story earlier in the day. It just reminded me a lot of Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
And, and and I think it's quite suspicious, especially with everything that's going on in that region right now. And Iran basically being almost directly funding Hamas in a lot of this. I really don't. I got to be honest. I don't know my main take on this. Besides, I'm not a supporter of Iran. I think that so.
You're
I
a
guess
normal
good riddance.
American.
I guess good riddance is what I would really have to say. Good riddance. I just worry if that's the only thing I would say is that's the devil we knew, right?
Yep.
This opens the door for a devil we don't know.
Fabian, I want your take on this real quickly. So they're saying some of the conspiracy theorists on social media that foul play's involved, even though it took 12 hours to find a helicopter because the region itself is very mountainous, very typical, very similar to what happened with Kobe Bryant's helicopter in terms of the conditions. Very foggy, but not just foggy for a hazy morning in LA. This mountainous region, first of all, being very, very high peak itself, but was under enormous amount of climate issues, whatever it is. But they're saying foul plays involved. They're blaming Americans because of sanctions that and they weren't able to fix the helicopter because of the sanctions. Your thoughts of everything and what I just said?
Yeah, there's always gonna be finger pointing. I think the biggest thing that they don't want people to see is that they can't even fly their president around in a helicopter because this happened. Like that looks so bad on Iran, especially right now where they're trying to look as tough as humanly possible. Now, it is worthy to note that the president doesn't run things in Iran. It's actually a theocratic republic, a theocracy, where the supreme leader holds the power, and that is the Ayatollah Khomeini. So the president, while influential, he actually oversees the executive branch and manages the economy. But the death of the president, it can lead to a lot of destabilizing things, because one of the things that I've been hearing people talk about is the fact that it's going to be the son of, I believe the Ayatollah might become president. And at that point, that's a kingdom. There's no reason. If you vote, it doesn't matter because they're going to put in place who they want to. So you have a population that is already very, very, very discontented with the government. They've been protesting like crazy. People have been dying over and over and over again. And they just crush the rebellion. So if they have a destabilized country, they can't get the president in order. The president is installed by the supreme leader, which means that people really have no power because he's been installed. I can see a situation where protests start up again, and because there's no president, there's a lot of destabilization, and this could be an opening for Western intelligence to get in there and say, hey, let's try to prop someone up, or let's cause more destabilization, or let's try a coup, or let's do this or that. So all bets are off right now. The last thing that they have said is that if they, like you said, if they find out that Israel is had a part in this, that they're going to unleash their fury, or whatever.
Do you think that even Israel could be used as a scapegoat in this, and that this could,
of course,
that they could all of a sudden some intelligence was found that, oh my gosh, maybe there just so happens to be a smoking gun that is like making the noise of Israel somehow. It happens to be a Jewish gun, and they're just like, well, now we can just go October 7th times 10 because they apparently killed the president.
Well, Kev, it's funny that you point that out, because there were rumors circulating around on Twitter that Israel was somehow involved in this. And we actually digged it up, and we did find resources that provided us that essentially Israel was involved in this. So if we can maybe cue this up, as you can find right there, I heard that a Mossad Israeli agent was the pilot, and his name was Eli Kopter, which was amazing, right? So that's a little funny twist on it and everything. But fellas, listen, we also have exclusive footage, if we can actually cue it up, of Eli Kopter training for this incredible mission. Again, his name is Eli Copter, and this is him right here. So this is some exclusive footage that we were able to find on Twitter.
David's got jokes today, everyone.
Eli Copter, right? But the joke doesn't end here, fellas. It would be hilarious if it ended here, but I just want to take you on a even funnier ride, because this was, again, circulating all over Twitter. Again, pretty funny, right? But it was actually a lot of groups on Telegram, Palestinian groups, found this to be authentic information that, yes, Israeli Mossad agent was involved in this. His name was Eli Copter. And it was so viral all across these Telegram channel groups that, if we can also cue up this next video, that a French TV, something related to something as similar to CNN, actually went with the story.
No
so if we can
way.
play this in, and if we can also, I'll just read the titles if I have to, but yeah, let's play this.
Le télégramme affirme que le pilote de l'hélicoptère serait un agent du Mossad. Il donne même son nom, Helicopta. Est-ce que c'est vrai ou pas, bien entendu, comme cela fait partie de ces rumeurs qui circulent. Ce qui semble être sous-confirmé, c'est que du côté des autorités, même pour il s'exprime sur le télégramme, affirme que le pilote de l'hélicoptère serait un agent du Mossad. Il donne même
Oh my God.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Eli,
Wow.
dude, this is just, oh my God.
You know, this tells you how easy it is to dupe mainstream media and mainstream legacy media to say the most random stuff, because people are going to trust this now.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it was this easy to fake them out on essentially what is a meme, then I mean, think about everything else that they're getting wrong, and then that they're not telling you about.
Along with that, think about how many hands that had to go through before that man said it.
Yep.
Like, think about how many hands, how many people had to seriously say to themselves, and obviously in whatever French or whatever stupid language they were speaking, they had to say, "Oh my gosh, there is evidence that a man named Eli Copter
Wow.
was involved in this," and that I actually see this as a real rumor. Like, they actually had to read that. So multiple people had to read that and think that. Like, there's a lot of dumb people. Just because they have high-paying jobs, just because they work for the media, does not mean they're smart.
No.
And I would say it also shows you the modern standard for journalists, right? The stories that they would have to put out, right? Because again, this is equivalent to the same thing that's like CNN, right? And you know, CNN and its hundreds of viewers, right? I don't want to dog on them too hard.
Well, you know, this whole crash happened again, very similar to the situation Kobe Bryant was in. Very hazy, very limited visibility, a lot of fog, and when you're in a helicopter, right, you have hills, you're flying low, you're not an airplane, you're not above the cloud line. So the story goes that Kobe, the reason why you know, this potentially happened is that he would fire his helicopter pilots all the time. I heard something like 6 in a year. So he was basically forcing these men to fly in unsafe conditions. Who knows if this is something that was happening in a similar situation with the president of Iran, because there was also, I believe, the foreign minister was involved. There was several people on the helicopter. Maybe they were, and I know that they were coming back from a meeting in I forget which country, but maybe they were trying to Azerbaijan, correct. So this could be almost the exact same situation where you just have men who think they're so important they can't wait a little longer, put safety on the line, and then things like this happen.
You're absolutely right. Kev, last thoughts before we go into a quick little break.
Man, like I said, good riddance to Iranian's president, but make sure that we're all, and I think that last clip that we showed of the Eli Copter thing, it just is a good reminder. It's a funny reminder, but it's a good reminder to think about what your media is putting out there, because if they're putting that out there and then next they come out and say Israel is to blame and Hamas and terrorists are going to go after them, think about, is it a rumor? Is it something that got spread through a Telegram chat and then now they're taking it as objective fact? Or is it actually true? And I don't know one way or the other, but my point is just think about what they're telling you. Don't take it as fact.
And think about the fact that Breakaway USA is laughing at the French version of CNN. We got it right. They didn't. We're making fun of them. Who do you trust with your news?
That is Breakaway USA. Gentlemen, I think that wraps it up beautifully. And just before we go to commercial, of course, if you like all this news and stuff like that, please smash that retweet button wherever you're watching this. And we'll be right
it really
back
helps.
after. It really helps, especially when we fight this AI or this big tech censorship. But we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick little break with Eli Copter over here, and we'll regroup. We'll be right back.
And guys, I would like to take a second to pay the bills and thank our amazing sponsor, Freedom Water, Freedom 2O. It's an incredible water company that operates with the values of protecting the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. These waters taste fantastic. They're incredible. They're treated with UV light protection. They have reverse osmosis, and they have no fluoride. So you know what I'm going to say? It won't make you gay.
It won't make you gay. They're not making the frogs gay. They're not making you gay. No fluoride and Freedom 2.0.
There you
And
go.
Alex Jones approves.
Yes,
we
he
can't.
does.
I don't know if we can legally say that.
Well, he approves about the fluoride.
Okay.
the
Yes.
fluoride,
Yep.
Yeah, he approves of that. So, and they also have really cool labels that say you can't deprogram freedom and a ton of other stuff. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. They are the official water sponsor now of Turning Point USA. So props to them for that. That's an incredible pickup that they have. So anywhere you see Turning Point USA, you will see this water right around Charlie Kirk and everyone else. You have a lot of freedom fighters that are on part of the team. So check them out. freedom20.com/USA. And you'll get an automatic 15% off there. Or you can use the code Breakaway if you don't know how to spell USA, which you shouldn't be buying this water if you don't. Go learn what USA is first.
And if you just have this annoying liberal aunt, this is a perfect gift to her, to get her, especially for the summer.
Yeah.
All right,
what's
fellas.
next?
Let's go to the next story. Kev, what you got going on? Inform us, update us. What the hell is going on in the Trump trial? It's buzzing everywhere that Michael Cohen is all of a sudden catching more felonies. What's going on?
Yes. So Michael Cohen. So obviously last week we talked a little bit about this, about how we got Stormy Daniels was in the courtroom, porn star, and she obviously did an awful job, basically being proven to be a liar in multiple ways. And then now you have Michael Cohen, who has been incredibly biased, been also shown to be a liar. But not only has he been shown to be a liar, he also has admitted on the stand to committing crimes that some would say are even worse than the crimes that Trump is on trial for. So today, Michael Cohen was still on the stand, which I got to tell everybody too. If it feels like it's been a while that Michael Cohen has been testifying, it's because it has been. Michael Cohen is considered to be the star witness in this case. This case is very high profile. His testimony is kind of if we have an objective jury, his testimony is really what this case should be hinging on. And so they kind of needed him to be reliable and smart. But of course, it's Michael Cohen. You're not going to get either of those things. But direct quotes from him on the stand today. He said, quote, "That's what was owed, and I didn't feel Mr. Trump deserved the difference. I stole $60,000 from my boss on the transaction at the heart of this case."
Wow.
So what the heck?
Essentially, a CNN host even came out and said that this was considered to be, and so he's a CNN, not host, a legal analyst. Because while I'm going to law school, I'm not yet considered a legal analyst unless you want to. I could describe myself as one, but he claimed so even a CNN legal analyst came out and said that this is basically larceny, and said, quote, that this is a more serious crime than what Trump is accused of doing. Seriously. So basically what Cohen, if you're still confused, Cohen admitted to stealing anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000 from what he was supposed to pay Stormy Daniels for. So that there's the whole claim about that he was supposed to be giving Stormy Daniels hush money. The hush money payment argument is flimsy, as there's claims from the Trump people that it had more to do with it wasn't as much hush money.
Cohen confirms.
Yeah, we can watch. Let's watch this. We'll get this going.
Cash. Trump's attorney, Bland, says, you stole from the Trump organization. Cohen says, yes, sir. He also confirms lying to Alan Weisselberg. I don't know how many that is on the list, but that's another prevarication. And Cohen says he never pleaded guilty to larceny. On they go. Blanche presses Cohen. You did steal from the Trump organization based upon the expected reimbursement of Red Finch. And he says, yes, sir. So that's Finch. And Cohen confirms that he owed Red Finch 50 grand and never paid the full cash. Trump's attorney, Bland, says, you stole from the Trump organization. Cohen says, yes, sir. He also confirms lying to Alan Weisselberg. I don't know how many that is on the list, but that's another prevarication. And Cohen says he never pleaded guilty to larceny. On they go. Blanche presses Cohen. You did steal from the Trump organization based upon the expected reimbursement of Red Finch. And he says, yes, sir. So that's Finch.
So let me add some context to this, what this actually looked like. So Trump or Cohen comes to Trump and says, hey, listen, we owe $20,000 or we need to hush somebody up for $20,000. Michael Cohen then puts it in a brown bag, gives $20,000 in cash to Stormy Daniels, let's say, turns around and goes to Trump and says, hey, you owe me $50,000 because I gave her $50,000. That's a felony. So my friend, keep racking these felonies up, you and your friend Michael Avenatti, Stormy Daniels, because if you forgot, Stormy Daniels is actually still the loser in this case because she owes $300,000 in lawyer fees to Trump, which is the funniest thing about it at all. I know, right? It's like, listen, you slept with her, allegedly, and now she owes you, buddy, after you sent somebody to her. It's just hilarious,
the
guys.
First time a hooker has ever had to give a refund. That's all I'll say.
Oh my God. And it's she was 100%. She was like, no refund, right? But hey, listen,
this is first world problems. This is a bunch of well, in the case of Michael Cohen, the guy, and I want to call him the imaginary hot dog eater because he's on TikTok trying to make tips. He's trying to make coins on TikTok by eating these imaginary hot dogs and wearing these gimmick shirts with Donald Trump behind bars. And he thinks he's a 12-year-old on TikTok. He's literally a TikToker. This is how he's making his money. Maybe he's paying his legal bills that way. Maybe they're laundering money that way, just giving him a bunch of coins. Who knows? Regardless, I don't know if he has a lawyer. I would assume so. And I would assume the lawyer would probably not say, hey, maybe don't incriminate yourself when you go on the stand. I mean, just maybe, right? Kevin, I know you're not a legal analyst. You're self-proclaimed. But I think you would probably tell your client, hey, you probably don't want to do that on camera, right?
Well, and this is exactly, you're absolutely right. You would want to, because I don't think he isn't technically the client. He is a witness, but that's also important because he's supposed to be like the star witness. He is supposed to be the person, because this is a criminal trial. And so the client, I don't know the exact title of the case, but I assume it's probably like City or State of New York versus Donald J. Trump et al. Because it probably includes Trump Organization and
they're going after all the money.
Yeah.
Campaign.
And so when you're doing that, you want to keep your witnesses in check because you want them to come across as if, so the jury is being instructed. I mean, assuming Merchant is in any way even halfway decent of a judge, which I know a lot of people are hating on him and everything, and there are definitely reasons to hate on him. I don't know what's going on in the courtroom though. He should be saying things like to the jury every single day, you need to think about, or you need to analyze this objectively. Don't let your political opinions get in the way. Consider all facts of the evidence. You shouldn't be doing outside research. You shouldn't be talking about the case with anybody. That's what he should be saying to the jury. And the thing is you're not actually policing that. All of these jurors are definitely going onto social media. They're definitely seeing all this stuff.
100%.
And as a prosecutor, you would want your witnesses to come off as unbiased as possible, because the jury is supposed to be unbiased in their decision making. And so assuming that they're actually going to do that, assuming that they're going to sit in a room and say, okay, let's actually look at the evidence, let's actually consider these things, anything that is in their mind about a witness that is a preconceived prejudice against the defendant is just bad juju. It doesn't look good.
Well, and what I'm thinking is these jurors, when they go back, maybe they didn't catch the fact that he admitted to doing this. Maybe so many things happened. I mean, there's a possibility that a juror who doesn't understand law, it's just hears that and I'm like, oh, okay, he stole 50. But then they go on social media, Twitter or X, sorry. Maybe they're watching the show right now. You never know. And they're like, oh, that's really bad. So if they're watching that, they definitely are getting additional information that they're not getting from the courtroom because they have additional people speaking about it. And I mean, this is bad for him. So I don't know how.
I think what needs to happen, because I'm just thinking from, again, I am on Trump's side on this one, but I'm thinking of how the prosecutors actually make a case at this point about what they need to do is during closing, because while this is a really, really bad look, it doesn't negate necessarily the claims against Trump. Just because Cohen is a shitbag, essentially, doesn't necessarily mean Trump didn't commit fraud from the juror perspective. You know what I mean? Is like, even if they can understand how bad this is, it doesn't mean that Trump is innocent.
But it also takes all the word from him and cast out. Oh, go ahead.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It makes Cohen's testimony look bad. Absolutely. It makes him, it discredits him as a witness in a lot of ways, but it doesn't necessarily mean, that's what I'm saying is what the prosecution needs to say is Cohen's a bad guy. Like, this is what, if I was prosecution, which I wouldn't be, but if I was, and I was in front of the jury during closing arguments, I would say, I'm not going to get up here. Michael Cohen is not on trial. I'm not going to claim Michael Cohen's a good guy, but the facts are the case. The facts are the facts. That's what you try to say. That's what you try to say as prosecution is he's not a good guy, but no one in this case is a good guy, especially not Trump. That's what I would say as the prosecution.
Well, it all comes down to whether this, thing that happened, this exchange and whatnot, actually does legally fall under what is called legal services, because that is the whole argument at the end of the day, is whether Trump paid for this using campaign funds or through the campaign, and whether it actually falls under what is legally known as legal services. So we'll see what happens from that. But we do have another clip that I think I really do want to play, because we're talking about the star witness of everything, and or this being the star witness, Michael Cohen, just essentially catching more felonies while he's testifying. At the end of the day, it feels like they just honestly just don't have a direct link between what is happening overall in this case. Let's play this quick little clip.
This is significant because they appear to have caught Cohen in another lie, and this would be a lie to the other person who is allegedly part of this conspiracy, Alan Weisselberg, who prosecutors have chosen not to call because they believe that he would not testify, that he would plead the fifth. The judge has urged them to bring him in anyway. They have not done that. So Blanche, once again, now focusing on the retainer agreement.
What this also does is it puts the onus on Michael Cohen. It was Michael Cohen who arranged this scheme, the repayment scheme. If he's the one fudging to Alan Weisselberg and lying about this and twisting that, it puts more of it on him than either Weisselberg or certainly on Donald Trump.
And so far, there is no direct link proved beyond a reasonable doubt to the defendant in this alleged conspiracy. There is a lot of evidence that has been presented. There's testimony from Michael Cohen. There's testimony from others about conversations. But that is the goal of the defense team. And this right here, this line of questioning, so far, they have established that Cohen may have lied in order to get some of this money.
But the prosecution's going to get up and talk about this. And what Michael Cohen...
Correct.
Yeah. No direct link, fellas. It's CNN saying it itself. No direct link. And as much as the prosecutors are trying to draw up some conspiracy between all of this, it's a lot of he, she, say, blah, 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 and all this, and a bunch of stealing money at the end of the day. So I don't know. Last
all this, You know, as we've said many times, these indictments, these cases, whatever you want to call them, they are a red herring to take your mind off the fact that we have a completely open border right now. We have sky high inflation. We have a president who doesn't know what day it is, who thinks that he was a vice president during the pandemic and that Obama told him to go to Detroit and fix it. Literally happened today. It's just it's all done to take your attention away from the true problems happening and say, hey, look at this one little thing that these people did that one time. Let's focus on that and let's put all the news organizations on that. But hey, don't look at the border. Hey, don't look at your bank account. Don't look at your credit cards. Don't look at your health. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I was trying to find it right here because I saw it earlier today. It was one of those political poll bots online posted a thing. Actually, I think I just found it. I found some of them. Let me see if I can find the exact one about this one in New York. But there was there's been polls from one of those poll bots that show about whether or not if Trump is convicted by a jury of his peers. Let's try to pull this up on screen real quick if we can. I'm going to put it in the chat if this is okay to bring up real quick. If Trump is convicted by a jury of crimes related to his handling of classified presidential documents, who would you vote for president? Trump is still found to beat Biden.
Wow.
So
this was a big one.
This isn't necessarily the fraud trial in New York, but it's a poll that shows that if he were literally found guilty of a crime, if he were found guilty, he still wins 52-48.
Incredible. This is actually very incredible to see because just a few months ago, and especially in the primary season, this was one of the biggest things that was hanging over the Trump and the Trump camp and whatnot, because you had one poll after another come out and say, I want Trump, and then it would decrease by 30 to 40% when they would place a hypothetical of whether he was convicted of any of the trials that he was going through. So this is actually really incredible to see. And I would actually add on top of this, boys, we do like once a week, update on polls, and we've seen everything go. This is how bad Biden really is at the end of the day, that even 6 months ago, people were feeling a different way, but now everything is blowing up. Everything that they said that Trump would do is actually happening by the Democrats, manufactured by the Democrats. This is incredible to see. I'm so glad we saw that right there, Kev.
Well, think about this. You're a Democratic strategist and you're like, hey, guys, nothing is working. We tried to take them off the ballots in Colorado and a bunch of other states. We did this, we did that. Everything is falling one by one by one by one. What's next? I still think that the last grasp or the last thing that they can try to do is at the Democratic convention, have Biden say, hey, I'm not well. Something's going on with me. I got it checked out, or I have to get it checked out. Obviously, yellow bus Kamala Harris is going to step up to the plate. And then at the convention, there's some kind of disarray. And then the electors vote to put someone else up. I think that's the last thing you do, because this is, if nothing changes, Biden is going to lose bigly, to use a Trump terminology.
I love that.
They have to do something. So what is that something? What is that nuclear option? I don't know.
It's a 1963 style DNC, if I have the right year, but they did the same thing. The Vietnam War was blowing up in the Democrats' face. So
I'll tell
DNC...
you, that's the crazy thing that you say that. And I'm sorry for interrupting, but I went last weekend for Mother's Day. So not this past weekend, the one that was right before. My mom was taking on a beautiful vacation by my sister that I can't afford. So I went and visited with my dad. I went and visited my grandmother. And we were talking. She knows nobody in my family has ever really been involved very much in law or politics. But my grandma knows I am. And so we started talking about this a little bit, and she was like, man, this just like, we started talking about the encampments on college campuses. And she was like, wow, this like really reminds me of Vietnam. And like that whole time where she was like starting, like my dad was a young kid and she was his mom. And like, they were a young family. And she was telling me, yeah, like I remember like hearing about all these different things going on college campuses of people protesting the Vietnam War, and that we had the DNC in Chicago, and that caused issues. And she's in Peoria, Illinois, so not too far. I mean, a few hours south of Chicago. And it was really interesting to hear her perspective on all this, because then she even said something to the effect, she goes, the only difference is that back then it felt like those kids were fighting for America and for Americans.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Back then they were fighting because America was out killing communists. Now they want America to not fight and let the communists in because they are the communists. It's completely flipped. And these kids, I'm sure they feel nostalgic. They feel like, hey, the last time this happened was in the 60s and we're fighting the man, we're fighting the battle. They're being used by an old sap looking snail and George Soros and his I don't want to say the word because I know we're on YouTube and a bunch of stuff, but his not so manly son, Alex Soros. Well, I want to say the word so bad, but regardless, they're being duped by them, and the entire physical nature of people in the 60s, the people that were protesting, are very different than the soft soy boy spaghetti arm mafia that's protesting now.
Well, it's two completely different movements at the end of the day, right? We have in the 60s a legitimate anti-war movement, and you can't classify what you see on the encampments, them chanting Intifada revolution. You can't qualify that into anti-war movement. They're doing the opposite. They're actually wanting more war. They chant ceasefire barely now, and they know that they actually don't want any ceasefire. So it's two different complete movements.
Yeah, ceasefire would kind of kill their whole vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, all right,
Quite
that's what you
literally.
wanted, you got it. All right, now go home. But they can't because they started already. So they need to keep finding something to protest after that. What's next? Who knows?
They do.
Absolutely.
And speaking of what's next, let's take a quick commercial break. But before we go to that commercial break, I just want to say there's a lot of censored news that we can't put out into the sphere at all, especially Instagram. We can probably put it out on Twitter and whatnot, but nonetheless, join our Telegram group. It's an exclusive group where you can get our fantastic news right away. As you can see, it's popped up right there. You can screenshot it so you can save it for later, or you can just type in right now, t.me/breakaway. Join in. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people are in there. We're always chopping it up, throwing different things in there and whatnot. And you're the first one to get the stuff that we then later on try to put in different places. So,
Yeah.
And with that, don't go anywhere because we're going to be talking Australian, how Australia passed a digital ID law. And just for the algorithm, maybe Caitlin Clark as well.
I have a lot of choice words to say about Australia, so stay tuned, everybody. This will be fun.
This will be fun.
I'll be right back.
Blah, 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 blah. What are you talking about? Here, have some freedom to up. Now, the Constitution is awesome. That's what it is.
Yeah, and next up, I wanted to talk about Australia because this is something that is very important. It doesn't, the name digital ID doesn't sound scary like climate change or nuclear war, but in fact, this, if it passes, if it's allowed to be to start, which the date they want to start is in 2026. This is a vis-a-vis Chinese style lack of privacy for the individual citizens. So I want to pull up something on a stage here. I actually want to read to you from this article. This is about the Australia passes the digital ID bill, because it says the Australian government has passed the digital ID bill 2024 and digital ID bill 2024 is a different name. It will establish an economy-wide digital ID system and allow for financial organizations and providers to apply and join the government digital ID platform. To them, it says the benefits of this system will be a stronger and more secure ecosystem for users online. It will also encourage providers to join the voluntary accreditation scheme. They call it scheme for some reason. Maybe that's an Australian word, which really is, to comply with the standards of Australian regulators and maintain high levels of security and authentication. Once the legislation receives the royal assent, which is expected in the next few weeks, they will come to action in November 2024. And by 2026, businesses will be able to join the government's digital ID system. Now, I do want to explain a little bit more about this because that doesn't sound so bad, right? That sounds like, okay, well, it's just a digital ID. But here's a problem with that is you have to think about a complete centralization of all of your information, of all of your health records, of everything you've ever done, where you live, every single thing. And that should scare you, because we know that the government is incredibly inept at keeping anything safe. Citizens, information, right? We can't even keep the banks afloat. The banks, fumbled, and we had to print a bunch of money to save them. But here's the thing, is because not only is all your information there, if you consolidate all of your data and information to a single ID, it creates a high-value target for cyber criminals. And if they breach it, it can expose sensitive information like financial data and healthcare records, but for every single person. The next thing you have to consider is that by linking your personal identification data across federal, state, and private entities, the government gains extensive oversight over your individual activities. And that level of surveillance could be misused, as is in China, as is already now. And the next is data security, because although the bill includes measures to enhance cybersecurity, Australia's track record on data protection is very, very concerning. They even say that they don't have to disclose any breaches of security that has happened to the system. So if you want all your information to be held by the government, so they can know in real time what you're doing, anytime you go to the doctor and they prescribe you something, the government knows. Anytime you go anywhere, anytime you do anything, they know, and they can control every single thing. And that's the danger in this bill.
Wow. I mean, that's really frightening. And you just explained a lot, first of all. So, and you've gone in deep into this, and I know you know a lot about this. So just for me, and maybe for our audience, what would actually this look like implemented, in terms of how does this affect like the average Australian now in in a couple of years, let's say, after this is being implemented?
Yeah. So if you like your privacy, it's gone, completely gone. China has a social credit score system, which essentially is a digital ID, where everything you do is on your phone. It's on an app. If you want to buy gas or charge your car, you have to have a certain level of credit score. If you don't, the pump literally does not turn on and operate. If you want to turn your car on, you have to scan your face. If you have a low social credit score, your car will not turn on. If you want to buy a plane ticket, a train ticket, buy certain foods, you are essentially locked into the location you're at. You can't rent a car. You can't drive a car. You can't buy a plane ticket, nothing. This is an extension of that, to allow the government to see everything that you're doing at any time, your health records. So the government knows how sick you are at any point in time. Well, the government has people they work with, right? Corporate partners, vis-a-vis BlackRock, vis-a-vis all these other corporations. And all they want to do is make money off you. Their job is not to cure you. If they cure you of any health ailments, then you're no longer a customer and you're no longer a client. So just think about the possibilities of having people who are only obsessed with power joining with people who are only obsessed about money. And now they have all of your data, but it's all centralized. It's completely centralized. They can do whatever they want with it.
Phew. Kev, your thoughts?
Sounds really gay.
Well, it is Australia. I mean, you did see that flag.
It's exactly. Well, no, that's what I wanted to start off with, is I'm not surprised. And so I sent a link. I don't know if we can get that pulled up, just because it was kind of a quick hit that missed the cut that I wanted to bring up today. But then when I saw we were talking about Australia. So Australia is super gay. I'm not surprised by any of this. An American podcaster has branded Australia lame and weak after going on an emotional anti-woke rant online. So Matt Walsh went on like a massive anti-Australia thing last week. But the funniest part about all of this, go through some of the comments on this post. Go through some of them. Just read some of them, please, for me, Fabian.
So let's see. This one here says, to be honest, Australia doesn't even feel like a country it was 15 years ago. I witnessed the changes live. Matt is 100% correct. This isn't the country I grew up in. Australia is largely lame and weak. This piece of journalism and the number of people who complied with the experimental death jab is evidence of that. Kudos to the battlers who resist the woke cult disease. Someone says, he is 100% accurate. Someone says, we just allowed the digital ID to become law. No one is protesting this. I'd say we are quite lame and weak.
Exactly. Okay. So the point I'm trying to make with all this is, one, I'm not surprised, but look, even Australians don't like it there. Like,
Mm.
even the Australians are in the comment section of their nationally funded media, which is like, hey man, like we're not that bad. Like they're trying to be all like, Matt Walsh is so extreme, we hate him. And even Australians are in the comment section being like, no, he's kind of got a point. We like where we live and stuff, but we hate our government. They all hate it. So while I will attack and hate on this legislation, and I think it's bad and we need to prevent it from coming to America, and I see even other places that have similar things that are scary. Like you have Dubai, I think, is one place where all you got to do is like scan your face and that pays for things. And like that connects to your bank account. There's places that are doing some crazy things with biotech and connecting you and making it all about with data collection. There's a lot of crazy shit going on. But it seems like there are rational people in these countries, if not even the majority of Australians. I don't know if that's representative of the majority. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. That recognize it as relatively crazy.
I want to like break it down into two though, or separate the two, because I think like advancements like you were talking about in Dubai or something like that is pretty cool because it makes life a little bit more efficient. And that is, I think, what they're trying to disguise things like digital ID under, is that, oh, it's so effective. It makes everything so much more simple, simplify your life. That's what everything is about nowadays, right? But this is actually this is taking away your actual privacy, because we've all seen videos in China where they can regulate everything that is happening around you if everything is digital. So if you live in these 15-minute smart cities where the house is digital, you walk in, it's all based on you scanning it and whatnot, then they can use digital ID and whatnot to actually hamper your life, take away your privacy and whatnot. And then you actually have cool human technological advancements like, your iPhone and whatnot, being able to communicate like that and whatnot. So I always like to separate the two from each other, but I think it's really frightful. And I'm not surprised with Australia, not because it's just weak and gay and whatnot. It obviously doesn't drink Freedom 2.0 water. It's not surprising because they were so about the lockdowns. There was hardly any resistance against the lockdowns. They relatively have a pretty tyrannical form of government not form of government, but the way it's structured, because they don't really necessarily have the same freedoms we have here in the US. And it's important that this stops in Australia because, like we always see with issues and trends and whatnot, it starts somewhere like in Australia and Europe, and then it finds its way into America or Canada and then America. So it's important that we learn from what we will see in Australia in the next 5 years from this, and we prevent this from ever happening because we have the ability to.
I will defend the Australians. I have many Australian friends, and they definitely are not gay, and they are manly Australians and womanly Australians, and they hate this stuff. The problem is they're busy doing things, right? They're busy living life.
Yeah,
they're
like fighting off all the deadly animals that live there.
All those kangaroos, that want to box you. That's my idea of what happens in Australia. You go out and you have kangaroos trying to box you. But this is a very dangerous thing. And yes, it is just a small subsection. We obviously know how Congress passes things without letting us know, without doing the people's bidding, right? Yep. Same thing, I'm sure, is what's happening there. They have crazy laws, crazy rules. The thing that they don't have is the Second Amendment. There was a buyback quite a while ago where they basically said you have to give us your guns. They don't have any freedom of speech there. They don't have a First and Second Amendment. Those are the most important damn things any country could have. So when you see things happening like this in Canada and Australia, they don't have those first two critical amendments that our founders said, yeah, those are going number one and number two because they're the most important. So, for all my friends over there, I wish you guys the best. You're going to have to start fighting at some point. Better do it now before you have, what used to have some privacy. The last thing I'll say, for anyone listening out here, what is life like with the digital ID? Well, let me ask you, do you get scared sometimes that when that your FaceTime camera is on your computer? Okay, imagine that all the time. That is a life with digital ID. That is a life where everything you do is not only seen by the person you're Zooming with but the government. That's what that's like. So if you want to live a life like that, then allow digital ID into your life, into your homes, and into your countries. And if you don't, then you're gonna have to start fighting.
I'm really interested. Okay, so this was something when you say that, and I know we have other things we want to get to. I hope you guys have some time tonight because there was this thing that came out today that I wanted to get because I cut it. This was supposed to be a quick hit, and everybody who's watching right now, like this is totally unscripted. This is not something we had planned on whatsoever. But there was this thing that I saw that came out from Microsoft today. Did you hear about this?
No, inform us.
Fabian, okay. So I feel like Fabian, you are so into all these like niche tech talks and stuff. And there was this thing that came out of Microsoft and I'm pulling up the video now. I'm going to share my screen and I'll get it up here. I could present share screen. And I can't even explain it that well because I'm terrible with a lot of this niche tech innovation stuff. But let's get this up on screen here and we'll talk. Just watch this. He'll explain it. He explains it if it's a good thing. It reminds me of the Tech ID stuff that you're talking about from a new Microsoft device and a new feature they're enabling.
How do we introduce memory, right? Photographic memory into what you do on the PC. And now we have it. So it's called recall. It's not keyword search, right? It's semantic search over all your history. And it's not just about any document. We can recreate moments from the past, essentially.
Here's how it works. Windows constantly takes screenshots of what's on your screen, then uses a generative AI model right on the device, along with the NPU, to process all that data and make it searchable, even photos. I got to try it out. I searched brown leather bag. It came up in visual search. There's no place on this page that it says brown leather bag. It just knows because it sees this brown leather bag. There could be this reaction from some people that this is pretty creepy. Microsoft is taking screenshots of everything I do.
Yeah, I mean, that's why that it can only do it on the edge, right? So this is like, you have to put two things together. This is my computer. This is my recall, and it's all being done locally.
The problem is it's not your computer. I just talked to ChatGPT 4.0. By the way, I'm going to do a debate with ChatGPT. I'm going to attempt to break it. So if you want, I don't know when I'm going to do that, but it's going to be in the next few days.
How much prep do you need?
I don't do any prep.
You have a lot of time.
Let's do it tomorrow.
We can do it tomorrow. We can do it tomorrow. So if you're watching, tune in tomorrow. I'm going to debate ChatGPT, the one that you speak to in real time.
Okay.
But I got ChatGPT itself to tell me that it anonymizes all the information that you give it almost all the time. And I honed in on that one specific part. I said, in what situations would there be would there be an item or something said that you would have to not anonymize it and give specific answers to your creators, Microsoft and OpenAI? And it got stuck. So you can get it stuck when it doesn't want to give you the correct answer. But yeah, this is scary. This is just, I mean, we all have our iPhones. And when you want to get information on your iPhone, what do? You download an app and then you unpack it. So in the future, the idea is to have the exact same thing happen in your head. If you want to learn how, you want to learn karate, you download the karate pack and you upload it to and now you have all the muscle memory that a karate master would have. This is an iPhone, but done on your computer. We already have that on our Photos app where you can go to your photos and you can type in what you're looking for. And then visually it will place whatever you're looking for in a searchable index in front of your eyes. This is just taking that concept and putting it for your entire computer.
Well, and that's so like we get a comment like this, and everybody please comment and let us know. What
there you go. That's what I was literally about to say.
Yeah, and so we have this guy asking Jamie, thank you for the comment, saying I'm not looking for a fight, but it's like cookies. You're right. However, what they're describing with Microsoft is you could have opened a private photo and your computer knew that, a private photo that was sent to you via, I don't know. I mean, like, obviously it's
it was sent to you, Kevin. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. You guys are so worried about this. They're already doing it to you, the federal government. And
what I'm saying is that it's even further.
Okay, it doesn't matter. It's screenshotting it, your private picture that nobody's ever seen. Doesn't matter. They already have access to your phone. That's where your picture is in the first place. That's where you took the picture. And
Well,
I don't
here's
want to be
here-
this tinfoil hat kind of guy or whatever. I don't really wear it
No.
usually, but the federal government literally tells you that they work with these AT&T and whatever communication companies, right, and whatnot, and they've said that they've spied on whatever in the name of whatever safety interest that they may have and whatnot. So I'm like sitting here and I'm like, they already do this.
No. I know what you're saying, David, and I don't disagree with you. A lot of our rights have already been, and I wouldn't even necessarily, a lot of our privacy has already been encroached upon. That is not even up for debate. Like, we know that to be true. But what I'm saying when it comes to this stuff is that they're encroaching even further to where the protections that are in place, while slim, are being even further eroded. So
Oh,
the way in which they can utilize the pictures and the data that they already have is going to be further eroded, because now what used to be at least protected to where it would just be the company itself and the government had access to it, now it's going to be, oh, well, we're collecting it and you didn't opt out, and so now we can actually also sell it to these Chinese advertisers, and then now China has all the info that you thought that they only had the info from TikTok, but now they have literally everything on you because it was sold to them for pennies on the dollar.
Well, see, the thing is that they're already doing it. Now what they're trying to do with this new thing that you just showed me on Microsoft or whatever is that they're just going to normalize it. Now it's like, okay, look, we've been stealing your data, or spying on you and selling it to whoever it is. But now let's normalize it by creating this unique AI thing or whatever it is.
Yeah, a few points on that, and I know we got to close up. Number one, yes, cookies were the first generation of this, but as things iterate, they get more deeper and they get more technical. Second, I am not opposed to, I love all this technology. I love futurism, futurist technology. The problem is, are you going to control it in a ecosystem that's closed off to everyone else? Which is essentially privacy, or are you going to allow it to be dictated and manipulated and done anything else with and sold by a third party? You know, Andrew Yang in his 2020 campaign, he talked a lot about this, that data is now worth more than oil. The amount of total data in the world on us is worth more than oil. And if you think about what we've done for oil, the wars we've gone after, the coups, right? The assassinations. Think about what they would do for this data that is worth more than oil. We literally went to war with countries. We destroyed whole countries, generations of people to get oil. We made our friends our enemies because we wanted their oil. So think about what they would do for this data stuff. We do have privacy laws. Now, those can get eroded. So at some point, you know, this, by the way, the solution to all this is blockchain, smart contract. Think about all of your data. You have control of your data. Right now, you don't have any control of your data. It's Microsoft and AI and all this stuff. You have your control of your data. What you can do then is you can rent your data. If there is a company that wants to do a, let's say they want to test everyone between the ages of 25 and 26 to have diabetes. You can sell your data for a limited number of time using a smart contract. On the blockchain, it's open source. They get it for a week. You get paid. Imagine how much money we would all make if we all made money off our own data and sold it whenever we want, not give it away just to use a piece of technology that they had created that makes our life 3% more efficient. That's the problem.
That's some good points right there, Fabian. And just to close it up before we move to Kev's quick hits, is that I think this would be a wonderful debate to have, honestly, is to figure out what is that fine line, right? How much privacy are you willing to let go of in the name of your safety? Because that's actually a question that I constantly find myself, you know, like, do I care that they scan me and see me naked in the airport for 3 seconds just so they could, even though TSA has never stopped a bomb, stop a bomb? Sure, but you know, all right, that's something that we'll discuss. But let's go to Kev's quick hits because that was a wonderful segment on its own.
No,
but
absolutely. We'll do Kev's quick hits, but I'm totally okay with TSA seeing all 8 inches. But let's get on over to Kev's quick hits coming up.
My man's African. No, I'm kidding.
Usually hit quick, but
Kevin said 8 inches and it went to commercial. That's That's a new record there.
I just keep coming up with them, man, because like I said, Kev doesn't hit quick, but tonight he will. All right, let's go to this first one. I just sent it in the chat. I don't know. Oh, no. Okay, I sent the one in the chat that I wanted to start with because it was a recent development even during the show. So we're gonna get to Alito, but I want to talk about Caitlin Clark, which I sent. I sent in our private chat. Kev's quick hits start with this. Start with quick. Did you see that one? Caitlin Clark got an injury. Here we go. So let's take a look and a listen at this video real quick.
All right, so now you have the
You can see Caitlin Clark. She twists her ankle earlier in the game.
Bro, what do you think? Should they risk it?
Ooh, that was nasty.
That's correct.
And I don't usually cover much sports. Because I don't really know that much about it. What I do cover when it comes to sports is women's sports as it pertains to the fact that we have men invading them. And I think that Caitlin Clark serves a very, very crucial point in time, not to talk about equal pay or any of that crap, to talk about how we can value women's sports and women in women's sports. And we need to. But I think it's important to talk about this. This was just earlier tonight as she played in one of her first games, first season games of with the Indiana Fever. I don't know if it's India. It's Indiana Fever. I wasn't sure if it was a city or not. So she has this injury. She's taken off. This is right in the second quarter. And I'm even informed right now by USA Today that Clark started the second half and quickly picked up her second foul. This is insane. It's looking like, from everything that I'm currently seeing on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, it looks like she could be going for 30 points tonight after having, like you even said, Fabian, a nasty, nasty twisted ankle early in that second half. And it looks like she could be still going to consistently break records. What do you guys think? We've never talked about
she's bad, man.
Caitlin Clark and all of this stuff.
She's a Steph Curry of women's basketball. Even the way she pulls up and the way she does her threes, it's just she's a bad chick, man.
She is.
That's all I got to say about
That's why
that.
she went first, right, in the draft. But I just find it hilarious that pretty much the whole night I've been sitting here tweeting Caitlin Clark in whatever segment we're talking about. So I was like Microsoft and Caitlin Clark, Australian Digital ID and Caitlin Clark. And it's been getting us some views tonight because it's hitting the algorithm really nicely. So, Caitlin Clark, thank you so much for trending tonight. And I'm so glad that we didn't go the entire show without talking about Caitlin Clark, because everybody that joined tonight for Caitlin Clark, you can't say that we didn't cover her, but she's amazing.
But
she's
that's
awesome.
the thing. It's like if she has attracted a whirlwind, and I'm so sad that not enough people are bringing to attention the fact that, hey, we're celebrating a very quality, and everything that I've seen. I've never met her, so like if anything were to ever come out about her, like I'm not gonna. What I know about her, she seems like a really good and down to earth person that is also very good at her sport. And she's a real woman doing very well against other women at a woman's sport.
That's the one thing that I will celebrate, Kev, is that it's a real woman doing fantastic stuff in real women's sports. The one thing I won't celebrate is that this is the WNBA, which is why nobody's talking about it. But Caitlin Clark is like a Steph Curry, so she'll be WNBA is definitely going to be on the come up these coming years.
Well, you know what? So she played, I believe it was here in LA somewhere, and they actually moved the game to the crypto arena, or if it wasn't LA, it was the main arena. I believe it was here. If I'm misspeaking, it was whatever it was, the actual NBA stadium, because they were selling. They had so many people who wanted to buy tickets. The regular arena couldn't hold it. This is actually pretty incredible. That people they had to move it to the 20,000 seat crypto arena because of just her. That's how much visibility she's bringing in. And I like the style that she's infusing into the WNBA, because it's like a Steph Curry type of thing where, typically you don't have that a person with that kind of ability that can do those types of things. So it's really acrobatic. It's extremely entertaining. I do like that she's from Iowa and she went to Iowa for university. She didn't go to UNC or anyone else. That I give her props for. That was cool. She kept it home. She kept it in her city. I do know people who know her, And they said she's a cool person. She's not like this diva. Now, will that change? I have no idea. But I'm all for her. I hope she gets better. They have amazing medical staff now. They have incredible things they can do with sprained
Well,
ankles.
she's already back in the game. That's what I noticed. Is like she's already
Boom.
back in the game. It looks like she had like 8 to 10 points by the time of that injury. It's looking like she could go for 30 in the entire in the full game, which is insane, especially having an injury right around halftime. So.
Wow.
Amazing. But I
Yeah.
wanted to include that quick hit. We're still that's a bonus one because that came up like mid-show.
The bonus.
But so let's get to the next one, which is what we started with, which is Alito. Justice Alito has been in the news recently and called to resign by leftists, not because of stocks or anything really. It's because apparently his wife displayed an upside down flag all the way back in 2021. So around the time of January 6th, this was pictured outside of his house, this upside down flag. Let's take a look. We can just see exactly what basically this picture. That's what they had. Is, oh my gosh, she has an upside down flag. And if you've never been on a boat or known anything about flags, if you see one that's upside down, it means that individual or whatever that flag represents is in distress. We all know, most people know, that when an American flag is at half staff, it means something sad or bad or something worth mourning happened. Well, when a flag is upside down, it means that thing is in distress. Apparently, Alito had a neighbor that's a leftist, and that leftist had said some choice words to Alito and his wife. And so his wife had put the flag upside down as a form of protest. This was right around January 6th. And now lefties are going crazy, claiming that it's him supporting the insurrection and that, oh my gosh, we have this Supreme Court justice serving on the highest court of the land supporting insurrection. What do you guys think?
Wait, you mean to tell me that leftists that don't even know what the American flag is anymore and want to take it down from buildings and are burning it and putting up pro-Palestinian Hamas flags, now they're mad because someone used the flag in a correct manner? Wow, that's just an incredible thing to me, lefties. You guys are going to have to try harder with your spaghetti arms.
With their spaghetti arms. You always get me with the spaghetti arms, which is 100% true. But how awesome by Justice Alito. I just have to point this out. He blamed his wife, which is like, what a classic move. Like, yo, it's my wife. Take it up with her, right?
He was like, guys, I was busy doing Supreme Court stuff. So it wasn't me.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. Well, and that's the thing is it's kind of just an absurd thing. Like Fabian said, they're burning flags, they're throwing them on the ground, they're putting up other flags, but now all of a sudden they care about the flag. What are they going to be like? Oh my gosh, the flag wasn't well lit, so it violated flag code or something? No, they don't care about this. It's because of what Alito stands for. And to show this, that story really didn't get enough traction with people. And so now we have this one that has been pushed today. I don't know if we have it up yet, but now the big problem is that, oh my gosh, Justice Alito sold Bud Light stock and then bought Coors. And this was found out when all the Bud Light stuff happened with biological male and grifter Dylan Mulvaney. Now CNBC and many other leftists are getting mad because he sold Bud Light stock and then bought Coors during the boycott.
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi is making gains like it's no one's business and just ripping at her options, hitting every single correct move. She's probably the one that's probably the reason why GameStop went down just herself. She probably bought a ton of puts on that thing. The world's best trader in the world is sucking money out of your hands and your parents' hands. But it's Alito that you're going after because he sold Bud Light stock.
Well, let me tell you why they're going after Alito. And this ties back to the story we just saw about the whole flag. Everything is coming out like this recently and whatnot is because the narrative on the left, especially if you look at CNN and whatnot and a couple independent leftist news networks, they're all talking about the same thing, that they want Justice Alito and Clarence Thomas to both recuse themselves from the upcoming January 6th case. Why? Because that'll be enough people to weigh out the ruling that they want to tilt to the Democrat side, right? So this whole narrative, as soon as I saw them start to attack Justice Alito, I was like, what is going on? Oh, that's right. That case is coming up soon.
Exactly.
They're trying to, and that is the actual official narrative that I'm seeing all over on the left
and
side.
that's what's happening. And you'll notice there's all these things coming back about Clarence Thomas and his wife and supposed alleged gifts and mishandling of cases and everything. It's what's going to happen because they care about that. It's not about whatever the flashy thing is that they're trying to throw in your face. And even with that, I mean, even going back to the flag one, I see we got Jamie in the comments talking about America is distressed. What about the disaster? Yeah, absolutely. Along with that, America, you could even make the argument to the lefties that they don't even care, because what if maybe his wife was saying that America is in distress because of January 6th, because of the insurrection at the Capitol? How do you know it wasn't about that, stupid lefties? But let's get to the next quick hit here out of the New York Post.
Hit me with it.
A shared husband.
Oh,
the headline.
I didn't need it.
I've shared my husband with 35 women in the past year.
Oh my God.
It's the best marriage I could ask for. An Australian woman, shocking, who shared her husband with 35 women in the past year, says her marriage is stronger than ever. Honey Brooks made the bold declaration in a video shared to Instagram earlier this month before insisting it was her idea to bring other women into the bedroom. She said, "I'm obsessed," the content creator claimed after revealing she was always present when the women were having sex with her husband.
Wow.
Everyone is going on saying you guys aren't happy and you aren't going to last in the marriage. This is ridiculous. Let's see. Do we have the video? Can we play the video? Not that one. Go down a little bit more. They have the actual Instagram video here. Yeah, let's play this one.
I have shared my husband with 35 women in total the last 12 months. And I tell you, I'm obsessed. Everyone is going on saying, you guys aren't happy. You are not going to last in a marriage. This is ridiculous. Like, you guys aren't even married. Hello, like, we get to not only enjoy the hell out of each other, but also my husband gets to enjoy so many other women, and so do I. Like, this is the best
So do I.
kind of marriage you could ask for. And the best part about all of this is it was my idea. It was literally my idea. Like, I said to my husband, I think this is what we should do. I think we should give it a try. And he just went along with it. He was like, okay, let's give it a go. And now it's just like secondhand to us.
Yo, I've seen this the other way around, where, like, you know, the dude is such a wussy that he allows his like hot chick to go and like date and screw around with whatever guys. But I've never seen it the other way, really, where it's like a pretty good looking
No, David,
chick.
this is
You're forgetting
this
it's
is a
Australia.
sugar daddy.
It's Australia. Everything is backwards in Australia. The toilets flush the other way. The women suggest the man should sleep with other women. It's all backwards. It's fucking Australia.
You know, I don't know who her husband is, but and I'm going to just venture to say he's maybe slightly older, right? Taking care of all her bills and stuff. I don't know who this person is, what she does, but this happens quite often where you have a sugar daddy who becomes, you know, the husband, and the girl doesn't like him. She's like, you know what? Why don't you just go be with other girls? Because I still get the benefit of having the money. And then if we divorce, you're going to give me a bunch of money. Yeah, you go just hook up with other chicks. Like, guys, that's a sugar daddy.
So it's like a light version of Islam, huh?
Yeah, and of course she's doing it for clout. You know, I mean, I wonder what her rates are now that she has all these people talking about her.
Thinking about as you say that though, David, like, it's actually like, okay, you're laughing and you're not. It is funny, but you really think about it. I mean, we have so much of society that seems to be embracing Islamic ideology. While maybe not all are, many are embracing it. I mean, I even saw on encampments, people were converting to Islam right there.
They were,
which is just absolutely insane. And
I was eating a bunch of Pop-Tarts.
And we can't get through a show without me going on a tirade about Islam. Islam is a terrible religion. I will tell you.
Hey, I'm right there with you.
It's a terrible religion. It's absolutely degenerate. Muhammad was a pedophile. Look it up. Real story. Muhammad was a pedophile. They don't respect women in any way, shape, or form. You want to go on Christianity about not respecting women? Let's talk about Islam right there for a second.
I want to meet a feminist Muslim women who's like super like fourth wave feminist.
Just go to the Columbia encampments or anything like that. They got the 2024 Progressive Islam edition.
Yeah, I just want to say, how do you logically live with yourself?
I don't even think they make burqas that fat. So
come on, that's hilarious.
No, okay. Let's get back before I go on an anti-Islam tirade because I don't have time for that tonight. None of us do. When it comes to this woman, and I think she might have almost mentioned it, she's not even married. A marriage is between one man and one woman, and that's it.
Depends on the religion, but go ahead.
I don't give a shit about your religion. My religion, Catholicism, and every other Christian religion, even Judaism, all of the religions that founded the morality, that the Constitution, our Declaration of it, basically all the law of the land in America is based on, says that marriage is between one man and one woman. So I don't care if you're a part of the religion of woke. Marriage is between one man and one woman. And so I'm not even protesting about the Legibitica alphabet mafia tonight. No.
You call it Legibitica?
I always call it because it's LGBTQ.
Yeah.
Not anymore, my friend. Now they got the 2S. I think it's 2S, and then now the L goes with the beginning, so it's 2SL GTBQIA plus.
Sorry, I don't have enough seizures in me to say that.
Legibitica.
Legibitica people. But yeah, and so I don't even need to go off on that. I'll go off on these stupid people that are like, my husband sleeps with 35 other women. Yeah, your husband is an infidel. Sorry to steal sorry to steal the Islam term there, but he is. It's infidelity. And it's disgusting and I hate it. But that's that quick hit. Let's get to Kennedy here just to get onto a different track. Let's do a palate cleanse here. Kennedy, everybody's saying that Kennedy should, well, people are arguing as to whether or not Kennedy should be a part of the debates. Let's take a look and a listen at this clip right here. Hear his argument.
From
I saw this.
The campaigns or from CNN or ABC to ask your plausibility of being on that debate stage?
We are in discussions with CNN. CNN published a list of criteria, 4 criteria for candidates getting in the debate, and we have shown CNN that we meet all of those criteria, and that President Trump and President Biden cannot meet those criteria. The key, one of the two sort of key criterion is that every candidate has to be on the ballots in enough states to get 270 electoral votes by June 20th. And we will qualify for that. President Trump and President Biden cannot qualify for that because they don't have any electoral votes at this time. They are presumptive nominees for their party, but they themselves are not on the ballot. I will be the only one on the ballot. The other criterion is 4 polls that have me at 15% national polls, and they listed the polling firms that they would take those polls from. And we've given them 5 national polls that show me, including the CNN poll, the most recent CNN poll that has me at 15%. The Harvard-Harris poll, the Monmouth poll, the Quinnipiac poll, that all have me at 15% or more.
Who? Yep. I saw that this morning, Kev, when you come back. But I saw that this morning, and one thing is I look at polls a lot, and I haven't really seen any credible polls where RFK is polling 15%. He's close. He's like 13%, 12%, good day, 14%. But I'm sure he's going to scrape up enough polls that are approved by CNN's committee to get those 4 that are above 15%. The interesting thing about that is that he's actually 100% right. We've never had a debate happen this early in the political season. Kev is back. Never had it this early. Usually it's after the convention, after we already have the candidate. And that is when they're actually starting to get on the ballots in these various states. It's very accessible and easy because they're big parties. Well, RFK has the harder route here where he has to actually get onto these ballots on these various states. And he's right. In the next coming 3 to 4 weeks, he's actually going to be able to get on probably all 270 above 270 electoral college, points, ballots or whatever it is. So he's right. And if he's up there, that'll be exciting. But I think that one thing that he didn't mention is that they said pretty clearly, no third party candidate, no third party candidates.
Yeah, the Democrats have been making sure that nothing funky happens at the Democratic National Convention that they are not going to be in control of. They've changed laws here and there in different states. They make it so complicated to qualify for anything now unless they give you the go-ahead. They really are trying to do the same thing that the Australian digital ID bill do, and that's centralized power in the hands of a few to dictate how everyone has to act to get to play. This is exactly what that is. I think you should be up there. I think we need more voices up there. I'm a big fan of British Parliament because they just talk trash to each other all day long. I would love to see something like this happen on the debate on the debate stage. No one is going to beat Trump at debating. That is hands down. I'll put all my money on it. No one's going to beat him. It's impossible. The guy's a stand-up comedian. He's incredible when he's in front of.
You're absolutely right, Fabian. And I'm sorry that my computer froze, and so that was my issue there. But I think the thing with RFK Jr. is, I think not only should he be on the debate stage, because if he meets all the criteria besides the third party thing or anything like that, he meets all the criteria. Yeah. Look, he is hitting double digits as a third party candidate. There is something to be said about that, and it's not negative. I will say, like, whether or not you believe he's going to be taking from Joe Biden or Donald Trump, whatever, he deserves to be on that debate stage. I mean, it is if anything, in my opinion, it is more impressive that he has reached the polling that he has than that Donald Trump has reached the polling that he has. It is more impressive to me that RFK has hit over double digits than Donald Trump has currently winning the 2024 election. Like, that's the way I see it. He absolutely deserves to be up there, and it's really sad that anybody would say the only reason why either campaign would not want him up there is because they're scared.
Yeah, they're definitely scared.
And I'm supporting Trump, and that's what and if they don't want him up there, it's because they're scared.
Yeah, and both sides are definitely scared. And look, Biden is so scared that they're even floating the idea in Biden's camp, not him alone, because he has no idea what he would even be scared of, right? So Biden's camp, let me correct myself, is super scared to the point of where they're even floating the idea of having the DNC be virtual again. Listen, guys, you have a COVID climate, whatever emergency that you can pull out of your butt to somehow legitimize you having a virtual or online DNC. You don't want to do it because of the protesters that are going to be there eating you alive. And then you also don't want to face the fact that RFK probably might be able to pull something there. So listen, they're both scared. And yeah, that's my quick hit.
Yeah, listen, and you're right. Every time I see Joe Biden's Instagram post something, I'm like, Joe Biden probably knows what Instagram is, but doesn't. I bet you anything he doesn't know how to log in. And if it is, it's probably just to see his daughter's diary and go through it or something. But
and actually, when they talk about Instagram, that he thinks he's like, oh damn, Hunter Biden, more crack, more grams of crack.
Yeah, he has a problem. Also, our case team is having a really hard time. I believe in attracting even more people. It seems like they've gone after this like super adventurous, like, oh, he can do pull-ups and lift weights and stuff like that. So let's do a bunch of that. And I'm like, dude, okay, I get it. He can do push-ups and he could do pull-ups. But don't keep showing me the same thing over and over again. He's not some hot chick that's just going to change bikinis and post the same picture over and over again. Like, he has to do something. And then his vice president pick is an absolute disaster. They're going for that whole, like, hey, we're rich, we could do this cool Elon Musk stuff. Like, I get it. I get the gimmick. But dude, stop. Like, no one likes a VP pick. And you support abortion up to the day of birth. And you want to give the government control to be able to shut off all of your power in your house whenever they want. And we've talked about this numerous times. He literally has said that. So yeah, listen, if anyone on the Kennedy team or the Biden team, if you're watching this somehow, you guys got to get some more people to work for you, because you guys are.
I actually at one point reached out to the Kennedy team and was in touch with a media booker about getting him on when I hosted a live radio show in Central Illinois. I was in touch, and I was just too small of a show. That was the issue, is I was just too small. But he has been. That's one thing that's gotten him a lot of exposure, that I think has actually raised a lot of his campaign and his percentages, is that he has done almost every podcast. There's podcasts I hadn't even heard of that only get, and when I say only, it's not to hit it. It's just like that you'd expect a presidential candidate to do, but he'll do podcasts that only get like 100,000 views, or even 10,000, 15,000 views. And he'll do them because it gets him more exposure. So maybe we even can get him on Breakaway. Maybe we can.
We definitely could. And look, listen,
Oh, I would love to ask him some questions. I would love.
Yeah, we'd have some fantastic questions for him. And look, if RFK sees this, or we send this, we clip this and we send it to him, just know we're open-minded, we're objective, we agree to disagree, of course. So it would be a very nice environment. This would be a great place for it, because I feel like we have a very balanced audience as well. But I've seen RFK Jr. in person. I've heard him in person.
Really?
Yeah.
In person, does it sound like he's struggling to speak? Because that's my thing with his voice, is I feel like when I listen to him talk, it sounds like he's like having a hard time talking.
It sounds like it. And listen, I was in a pretty big room where you had to have the speakers and everything like that, right? So you'd feel like it'd be even worse. But in reality, in person, it sounded pretty damn good. And at some point, the speakers knocked out or whatever it was. So he had to just use his voice to speak. And again, it's a pretty big room. And we were able to hear him pretty well, understand him, make out what he's talking about and whatnot. And I completely agree with you, Kev. When I hear him online, when I hear him on the media, like we saw on Martha, I think her name is, whatever. Yeah, it sounds terrible, but in person, it's pretty good, which is why I think, that's not the reason why, but he should be able to, at the end of the day, if he meets the criteria, to be able to be on that stage. There's no reason why a third-party candidate that's polling double digits is not on that stage. Actually, it's spitting in the face of our constitutional republic, I would say.
Absolutely.
Not a bad take, David.
Not a bad take at all. We can always keep debating that one, and that one I'm sure will be something that will continue to come up on this show. However, we got to talk about something else, everybody, something that's incredibly distressing to America, incredibly distressing to me constantly, as I grew up with three of them. We're going to talk about white women. White women right now are doing a new thing. Obviously, white women are super into therapy, and so they're always looking for new ways to therapize themselves. And so, according to therapy culture for Karens, there's a new thing that they're doing called rage rituals, in which women, especially white women, pay thousands of dollars to retreat to a safe and remote location. And then they call to mind everything that's ever annoyed them, such as Donald Trump, men, and other white women. And then they scream and flail and rage while hitting the ground with sticks in something that almost looks like they're calling Cthulhu to come out of the depths of the ground and just
wait. Do we have a picture or video of this?
We do have a video of this. I don't know if we're getting this. It's probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Do we have it up? There we go.
I need to see this.
No, this is not what I said. Is this what the clip that I put?
This may be the place for you.
Don't do this one, because I had the
that looks fun.
Because this is not.
I've always wanted to do this.
No, that's not what I had, because I had this video, which I just sent. This was what I had in our notes for today. Baby, can you open up this video? Here we go.
Oh my God.
So take a look and listen to this clip.
Right now, I feel. What do you feel? What are they trying to take? Right now, I feel. What do you feel?
That might be the best workout these ladies have gone in their whole life. Might be, maybe.
Listen, this is what happens when you don't go to the gym. We've been talking about this. You need a release. You need to lift weights. You need to do that. This is good. I support this. And the fact that they're doing it in an environmentally friendly way, they're just breaking branches. I'm cool with that. Girls, go after it.
I just think it's absolutely no. Here's my problem with it. You want to know my problem with it? They are paying thousands of dollars. In fact, some reports show them paying up to $3,500 to $4,000 for these retreats.
That's incredible. I'm going to start a rage therapy retreat.
That's what I'm thinking, man. Like, this is such a lucrative business. Let's just start advertising to white women. I'll piss you off. Give me $200. I will do it for so much cheaper. I'll provide the sticks and the forest and everything.
No, Kevin. All we do is lock them in a room and we put on our show on repeat. That's all we got to do, and we'll charge them $2,000. Listen, look, we're all about democracy and competition and free market capitalism. I'll do it for $2,000. Easy.
Man, like I said, I'll undercut that. I'll do it for $500.
Kevin, we're on the same team here. We're working together. You don't undercut your own team.
Am I the only one surprised that like they're paying for this? Like,
No.
well, you can't go by yourself into the woods, even grab a couple of your girlfriends and go to the woods and smash this stuff by yourself. What is it that they're paying $4,000 for at the end of the day?
I guarantee you somebody there has some quote unquote advanced degree in like alternative therapy or some shit that they got.
Lesbian dance theory.
It probably was as much as becoming ordained online. Like they paid $20 and they got a certificate, and all of a sudden, oh my God, like I can now facilitate a rage retreat where you scream your feelings and pound sticks on the ground like you're possessed by like the least scary devil there is. Like it's like flipping.
That's hilarious.
No, it is hilarious, and this is something. And I think it's also important to point out that if you look at it, nowhere in anything that I read about these things did it say specifically white women, but you watch the video and it's all white women. And so like, while there's so many things we talk about when it comes to how like when it comes to different races and what's going on black crime or illegal immigration and how that's specifically Hispanic, we need to be talking more about white women and the crazy shit they spend money on.
Well, listen, white women have suddenly departed so far left that might be. I think you're absolutely right, Kev. It's like we need to restructure everything based on this demographic shift we've had. You know, we give crap to all of these. No, it's the white women and whites in general. What are you doing suddenly abandoning Trump? I mean, look, we're making such amazing gains with minorities. I hate using the word minorities, with blacks, Hispanics, Asians, right? Who are we losing with now? Whites. White. Come on, get your shit together. Stop doing this stuff in the forest. Oh, Fabian, you're muted. The white women muted you, my brother.
It's because he's too brown.
That might just be it.
You must be at least this white to talk on this shit.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. I was going to say, okay, I'm thinking about it. Which demographic have been pumped with the most amount of drugs? Prescribed the most amount of medication?
Wish it was me.
The people that have the best insurance that will pay for it. White women. Maybe this is all because of everything that they're taking. Birth control, Adderall,
Xanax and wine.
Xanax. and honestly, I don't even know what the stuff they're taking now, but this could be a byproduct of all that stuff, right? You have the Karens. What are Karens? Karens are suburban mothers, middle age. They probably go to the doctor a lot. They look like they have good health care. They're pumping them full of the stuff, and then everyone's weirded out because. So basically, the Karens are the opposite, but the same as these crazy lefties that are protesting what they don't even know. They're both pumped full of sugar, bioengineered ingredients, and a bunch of medication, and they're both acting stupid on both sides. Maybe that's the problem.
I think you're more right than what I'm about to say, but it's just funny to say, is that like women just sometimes like to do shit together. Like they love to go to Target together and do things, right? So at the end of the day,
Yeah, women love community. That's the thing I'm gonna.
So
that's
this
what
might be.
David's mad about. David's mad that women
No, I
love
could
to
care
be
less.
together. Gosh,
I
darn
could
it.
care less. But at the end of the day, we're all sitting. I'm surprised. Like, why would women want to go retreat in the forest and just yell? But then at the end of the day, I'm like, well, maybe they just like do random stuff together. So, but I think Fabian is more right. I think this has to do with Big Pharma finally. We're seeing the side effects of Big Pharma.
I just think it's crazy that I'm the one taking the Jewish take on this, and the fact that I just can't believe they're paying that much money for it. And David's actually Jewish, and that's not the one that he's not.
Well, while you guys were discussing it all, remember, I was shocked over here that these women were paying that much money. So, my friend, money's always on my mind, especially when we're talking about a lot of shekels like that. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I know
but
we've
also-
gone pretty long tonight. So I had another thing, but if we want to cut it for time, we could include it on Thursday.
Yeah, also, guys, before we get out of here, everyone watching, please make sure that you check out our sponsor, Freedom Water. Super cool water company, tastes great, incredible stuff, and they are big supporters of the freedom of speech. As you can see, what we've been saying on this live show. Typically, people get a little bit mad, but they love it. It's freedom of speech. The water's incredible. Check them out, freedom2o.com/USA. They are the official water sponsor of Turning Point USA. So when you see Charlie Kirk on college campuses, just trumping these college libs or whatever you want to call them, lefties is what I call them, then you're going to see this water next to him. So they're doing a lot of great things, supporting people like us. So by supporting them, you're supporting us. Plus, it tastes really good, and they have really cool, unique sayings on all the different water bottles. And there's more coming out very soon. I got a whiff of some of the labels, and it's actually really funny. So if you want to piss people off while drinking good water, you can just drink this in public and see how the Karens come after you.
Absolutely. Yeah, Freedom Water is the best, and we always appreciate our sponsors. Kev, I know you had one more, but let's save it for Thursday night because we are an hour and a half into the show. We did so because, guys, we reached over 500 people watching us.
That's just on X.
On X, pretty much. Look, my camera even gave out because we've been going so
David's
long.
camera got out. Well, and with that, everyone, let's definitely get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you follow us at Breakaway_USA and our socials. We're on Twitter. We're everywhere. We do this every single Monday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Usually it's an hour. We went a little bit over. We're having fun today. Thank you so much for joining us. From all of us here at Breakaway USA, we hope that you become a fan of ours because we are pretty funny, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I know, right? Thank you, guys. Good night, and see you Thursday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Boom, boom.